Greetings, fellow detectives. Wizard Kitten here, bringing you a new build in my series, Building Nancy Drew in The Sims 4. I have committed to doing a Sims 4 speed build, at least one, for every single Nancy Drew game, which meant that I had no choice but to do a build for this game. This build today is inspired by Nancy Drew, the Shattered Medallion. So, for those of you that have played this game before, you probably know that there aren't really buildings in this game, so I was super limited in my choices of what to build for this game, and I was thinking about it for a long time. I was thinking I could maybe do the Puzzle Palace, but there's like very few things in the Puzzle Palace, and none of the things in there are things that we really have in The Sims, so I couldn't really do a good build for that. I thought about building the campground, but that would literally just be me putting a bunch of tents on the ground and calling it good. Like, there's nothing else in the campground to build. There's nothing interesting. So what I ultimately decided was I am just going to make a build that is inspired by the Shattered Medallion, but that is not recreating any location from the game. So what I did is I looked up an image on just Google Images, just did a couple Google searches of some New Zealand style architecture, some kind of more modern buildings, because what I wanted to do was build kind of like a community area, like a little hangout space that's really inspired by the Shattered Medallion and the kinds of tasks and fun things that you can do in that game. So that's what this space ends up being. It's literally just a community space. It's coded as a generic lot in The Sims 4, but your Sims can come to this lot. They can do some rock climbing, they can play some games, they can watch TV, they can get some drinks and sit out by the fire. And around this whole build here, we have a lazy river. So you're gonna see all of that come together. Hopefully you guys like this build. I know it's a little bit not traditional for the series because I'm literally not recreating anything. I'm more doing an inspired build. This is something that I kind of had to do with the Haunted Carousel as well. There are a couple games in the Nancy Drew series that really don't have locations that are going to translate nicely into The Sims. So there are a couple that I'm taking some creative liberties with, and this is definitely one of them. Again, I seriously considered just doing the campground for this game and throwing a bunch of tents on the ground and being like, look guys, a speed build. But that would have just been me being sassy about the game and how it doesn't actually really have any interesting locations. I could have built the caves, I suppose, but I also wanted to just make a functional lot, and I wanted something that I could complete fairly quickly that would be able to fit into my schedule because I'm doing a bunch of teacher trainings this week. So this ended up being what I went with. And again, I hope that you guys are okay with it. I hope you still enjoy it, even though it's not a recreation. I tried to include things that Nancy or the other characters can do in this game. So for example, in the game, there is kayaking, and there is kind of like a river and a waterfall. There is a water feature. So that was the point of adding the river. The build that I was working off of, the kind of inspiration photo that I found, had this really cool outdoor seating area with this really fun fire pit. So I thought it would just be really nice for your Sims to be able to come out here to this really cool area surrounded by this lazy river, nice little fire pit. I end up putting a little bar space pretty close by so your Sims can get a drink and hang out, make some s'mores. I wanted to include a couple of the rock climbing walls because, I mean, New Zealand adventure game show, rock climbing walls just seemed to really fit, and I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't have any rock climbing in the game. I think that actually would be kind of fun. I feel like it'd be fairly easy to do a rock climbing puzzle where you have to go up in the correct order or something, or like if you hit a certain kind of rock, you're gonna fall off because then that rock is loose or something like that. I use these really fun lights that came with the fitness stuff pack, which is also where the rock climbing walls came from, and I changed a bunch of the colors to make them look like rock holds, and I just love how this turned out. This little rock climbing space is super fun. I would totally go here. Do you guys enjoy rock climbing? That's something that whenever I had the opportunity to do it as a kid, I was always down for it. Like, I love rock climbing. I love those giant swing things where you go up to a really high height and then they just release you and you swing. I remember those at camps as a kid, and they were just the most fun thing ever. Super cool. So I had a lot of fun making this space. I wanted to make sure that it was as open to the outside as possible. So it has these skylights, and then it has these big open windows on the back wall. It's surrounded by these lava rocks, and then again, all of the rock climbing lights. So I'm just really happy with how it turned out, really. It's totally a space that I would enjoy spending a lot of time in. And I think I would really enjoy sending my Sims to that place too, like just to go hang out, get a little workout in, and then when they're done, they can, hang out at the fire pit. This would be a really fun, like, date location for some more adventurous Sims. They could do their rock climbing and then hang out, but we'll see the inside area coming together a little bit more in here. I was trying to add as many architectural details as I could on the outside. A lot of modern builds don't end up having a ton of depth to them. They end up kind of being square. They end up not really necessarily having a ton of character because it's more about clean lines and more of a minimalist style kind of thing. So I was trying to make it look as interesting as possible. Hopefully I succeeded. You guys will have to let me know in the comments what you think about this build. If it's a place you'd visit in real life, or if it's a place that you think your Sims might enjoy, kind of thing. It will be posted on the gallery as well. For those that don't know, I do post my gallery ID in the description at the end of every one of my more recent builds this summer, so you can always download it if you would like. So over here we're doing a little game area, and this was definitely inspired by the Puzzle Palace from the Shattered Medallion, because when you go in there, there's a bunch of puzzles, and then there's also a bunch of just puzzles in the game in general, things that Nancy has to do to progress in the game show itself. So I wanted to put in this fun little puzzle area. Both of them have Don't Wank the Llama right now, but you could easily swap one out for the cards instead. And I love the idea of just having the fire going, playing a little game, hanging out in the chairs, lounging around. It has a very cozy feel to it. I totally forgot to put a bathroom in, so your Sims can't hang out here too long. That was definitely an oversight on my part. I definitely forgot to put a bathroom in. There are a couple places you could kind of squeeze it in and it would actually work fairly well. I mean, even in these outside columns, you probably could sneak a bathroom in, just like a half bath kind of thing in. But instead I put succulents, which, more important. Who needs a bathroom when you have a beautiful succulent wall? Clearly I have my priorities straight. I also tucked the bar into that back corner there and put a couple of fairy lights over it. I put these big fun lanterns. I wanted it to feel like a very Pinteresty outdoor kind of space. Like, this is something that you would totally see on Pinterest, images of a really fun vacation style fire pit outdoor area, just more upscale. I kind of imagine too that this would be the sort of location that the characters in the game would go to after they get eliminated from the game show, because typically on game shows, when you get eliminated, you don't just go home because you're not supposed to spoil anything, basically. Like, they keep you there for the majority of the shooting of the show, because otherwise it's like, oh, so-and-so left the show, clearly they're going to be eliminated on the first episode or the second episode or something like that. So they have to stay contractually for the entire thing. But if you're like one of the first or second teams eliminated, you're going to get super bored. So I kind of imagine that they would have this little community space in addition to kind of a dorm area, kind of a lodging space. And then this is where those teams would go and hang out. So honestly, it's not that bad a deal if you get eliminated super easy, because then you just get to come have fun, relax, make yourself a drink, float around on the lazy river, do some rock climbing, play some games. I forgot to put a TV in here too, but I totally meant to put a TV. I put a piece of art above this fireplace, but before I upload it to the gallery, I'm going to swap it out with a TV. So you could watch some TV, you could watch a movie, hang out by the fire. I mean, that sounds better than the game show, personally. To be fair, most things sound better than the game show that they ended up with in Shattered Medallion. But that is a discussion for another time. See my review on the Shattered Medallion for more thoughts on what I think about that game. But anyway, I wanted this space to feel really cozy and really homey. I used lots of blue tones just because it felt very relaxing and soothing, but still had kind of like a modern twist to it, which I really liked. And now I'm attempting to make an actual functional bridge, which, spoiler alert, does not work. Like, I tried for a really long time, and I was able to get it into the right place, and I was even able to get stairs to attach to it, but then it wouldn't let me add fences, it wouldn't let me add floor paint. I just couldn't do anything to it, and I didn't want just this giant slab of concrete floating above the lazy river with stairs attached to it. That's not cute. That's no fun. So I end up getting a bridge from Debug, which we'll see in a little bit of a minute here. And I use Debug exclusively to landscape around the lazy river because I wanted it not to look like a pool. That's what this is. The whole river space going around it is a pool, so your Sims can absolutely swim in it. But I didn't want it to look like a pool, so I did my best to make it look like an actual river space. I put all these floaties around so you can like hop into one of the floaties and then you'll float around the lazy river kind of thing, which I really liked that idea. And basically what I did is I just opened up the debug menu, and then I would find a plant that I liked, and then I would go around in a circle and find a good place to put it on the river, and then I would do that again with another plant. Oh, and here I am pulling out the bridge. The bridge is broken, and that is supposed to symbolize George going across the bridge and the bridge breaking. So that's the point of that. They never fixed the bridge, it's still broken. Because the way you fix the bridge in the game is like the dumbest thing. They make it a puzzle, and they're like, oh, we fixed the bridge, but you have to test it out by stepping on exactly the right pieces. It's like, that is not how a bridge works. This was just a normal bridge. This wasn't a puzzle. When George starts walking across it, it does not make her test it out or go across it in a certain way. It's so dumb, so stupid. That's the thing where it's like, if you're going to add a puzzle into a game, please make sure that it makes sense and that it's like actually coherent with the plot or is something that a person could reasonably do. I mean, I can suspend my reality for video games. Absolutely. I do that all the time with the Nancy Drew games. But don't do that with a bridge puzzle. I mean, find a different way to add in a puzzle. There are so many ways to add in puzzles. I just posted, today it just went live actually, the 10 worst puzzles video in the Nancy Drew series, so I'll try and remember to put a card in for that as well, for more of my thoughts on bad puzzles in the Nancy Drew series. Oy vey. Spoiler alert for that puzzle, a puzzle from Shattered Medallion does make it into that ranking video. So here the landscaping is coming together. I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. The debug landscaping is just super helpful because you don't have to pay for any of it, and it looks like it's more part of the surroundings just because that's literally what the debug plants were designed to do, was to be part of the surroundings. They're the kinds of plants that you see around the world, but that you can't purchase in the build and buy catalog normally. So it just makes everything blend in so much better. You get more color options. Like, I've used these same flowers now, these light purple ones that I'm putting down. They come in a yellow version in the build catalog, but then they don't come in any other versions. But in debug, they come in this light purple, they come in a white color, they come in a light blue. So super handy because I can use this plant, which is super versatile for landscaping because it's got this nice flat sprawling structure that helps things look really nice and natural. And it just works out perfectly. But we are actually already coming up on the screenshots here very soon. I'm just adding in a few rocks to, again, make it look a little bit more natural. But I hope that you enjoyed this short little fun build. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. Is this a place that you would visit? Does this kind of remind you of Shattered Medallion? Do you think that I got the vibe across at all? I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think. I hope you still liked it, even though it's not really a Nancy Drew recreation in the fullest sense. But thank you so much for watching. watching, fellow detectives. If you're not subscribed yet, now would be a great time to do so because I am very soon going to be posting on a more irregular schedule since the school year is starting up again. So if you want to keep up to date on the streams and videos posting irregularly throughout the school year as I move more to a part-time schedule once the school year starts, now would be a fantastic time to subscribe and hit the notification bell so then you can get notifications of when everything posts. So thank you so much for watching, fellow detectives. I will see you soon.